Are you the new intern assistant? Bai Xiaoyan coughed for a long time and finally spoke a complete sentence. He looked at Mai Keel, who was squatting at his feet. She had long flowing hair, which was reflected in the morning sun, and had a light brown color. When he was rushing to the elevator just now, Mai Keel followed him to introduce herself all the way, speaking fast and low. When he was in the mood to listen, he was choked by the sentence, "My name is Mai Keel," and the documents in his hand fell gorgeously. Mai Keel stood up and nodded hurriedly, feeling embarrassed. On the first day of her internship, she met her boss according to the instructions of the personnel department. Not wanting to follow her around, Bai Xiaoyan seemed to have never looked at her directly. Did he notice her now? Mai Keel looked up and bumped into a smiling face, and was slightly stunned. There will be a meeting at 10:15, and a negotiation with customers at 2:30 in the afternoon. Foreign businessmen will come to visit at 4 o'clock. You should prepare well. Bai Xiaoyan finished in one breath without taking a breath. As soon as he finished speaking, he heard a ding sound and the elevator door opened. He walked into the elevator and made an okay gesture to Michael. Outside, the slowly closing elevator door reflected Michael's appearance, with flushed cheeks, shining eyes, and a little silly. She patted her head, turned around, and ran to the office quickly, her heart pounding, jumping violently. On this day, Michael was busy like a top, searching for information and organizing documents, which seemed simple but easy to make mistakes. In the playback room, when Bai Xiaoyan signaled her to turn on the projector, Michael crashed and the equipment had a problem. Bai Xiaoyan frowned at her and calmly led the foreign businessman to the workstation for a visit. This part was supposed to be completed in the playback room. Michael followed them anxiously and listened to their conversation, with a headache. There is a huge difference between the French in the classroom and the French in reality, and the pain continued until the end of the banquet. After the foreign businessman left, Bai Xiaoyan turned his head to look at his soldier and asked, "Can you drive?" His eyes were clear, as if soaked in stars, not at all like the drunken man who was swaying with every step just a moment ago. Mai Keel shook her head blankly and was sent to the taxi by Bai Xiaoyan. She looked through the rear window at Bai Xiaoyan under the neon lights, straight, handsome, dazzling, and beautiful like a painting. Before today, he was a plane in 2 dimensions. Even though she could write with great skill and depict his smile or anger, it always lacked charm. Bai Xiaoyan, the 3 words slowly slid across the tip of her tongue. Raw and sweet. 2. Approaching is a performance art of dancing on the edge of a knife. It has been nearly half an hour since get off work. Mai Keel walked up the stairs, from the 9th floor to the 1st floor, and climbed up again. The newly bought high heels hit the floor tiles with a lonely sound, and the toes were painful. She leaned against the wall, stroking her watch, watching the second hand ticking, and gradually became lost in thought. "Miss Koch, are you still taking the stairs today?" A familiar voice sounded, with a strange teasing. Mai Keel clutched her watch tightly and looked up, whispering what a coincidence, just like she had practiced thousands of times. "I've been saying what a coincidence for almost 2 weeks. Do you think it's a coincidence?" Bai Xiaoyan raised his eyebrows and looked at her high heels without saying anything. The heels were estimated to be 10 centimeters long. The petite Mai Keel stood there trembling like a little wife who had been wronged. He smiled, reached out to support Mai Keel, and said, "Girl, walk slowly. It is said that the best height difference between couples is 12 centimeters. Mai Keel glanced at the shoulder above her with her peripheral vision, subconsciously straightened her chest, but forgot the stairs under her feet, stepped on the air, and softened in Bai Xiaoyan's arms. The strong smell of male hormones filled her nose. Mai Keel rubbed her nose, and a bright red liquid flowed down. She was stunned for a moment, and hurriedly covered her nose with her hand, explaining vaguely, "Excessive secretion of dopamine, no, it's a sore throat." Bai Xiaoyan sighed, took out a white tissue and covered her hand, and asked, "Let's go to the hospital first, and then eat." Mai Keel waved her hands hurriedly, blinking her eyes, and said, "The weather here is dry. It's just a sore throat. Will Mr. Tong treat us to dinner? I'm so hungry." Would she say that she is a face control and likes him so much that she can't control herself and has a nosebleed? The two went to the nearest Jixi Agni out together, with 4 dishes and 2 soups, which was a bit extravagant. Compared with Bai Xiaoyan's feasting, Michael was reserved and looked at Bai Xiaoyan under the lights. His skin is very white, even whiter than the common southerners. His facial features are delicate and his contours are soft. He wears a diamond-shaped navy blue earring on his left ear, and the color is a bit dull. Boss Tom, what are the activities tonight? Before walking to the parking lot, Michael finally said. The most creative but most useful idea is to watch a movie, and the nearest movie theater is 2 stops away. Bai Xiaoyan looked at her steadily and said, why not walk there? The fingers are connected to the heart, and the toes are also connected to the nerve endings. Michael took small steps, and every step seemed to be walking on the edge of a knife. Bai Xiaoyan walked slowly and did not help her. His silence lasted until the movie started, and the ruthless and cold-blooded looked at each other for the first time in the picture. The little girl beside him sighed with long of usually starts with gazing. The voice was very low, but sonorous and powerful, so firm that it made people feel irritated. He turned sideways and asked condescendingly, do you like me? Even like today, you don't complain or refuse to suffer and work hard. The tone was full of unquestionable. He was born with a good appearance, and he was used to such a lovelorn maniac. The clothes were soaked with sweat and stuck to her body. The pain in her muscles and veins gathered together, and Michael's lips were almost bitten to bleed. She said in a defensive tone, I'm not a fanatic. I saw your photo 6 years ago. Bai Xiaoyan narrowed his eyes and did not ask any more questions. However, his hand that was rubbing her hair was a little stiff. After a long while, he warned, I have a bad reputation. Don't mess with me.